Hello, good day. How are you today? You're good, right? Okay. Are you ready for today's lesson? You are? That is good. So today in mathematics, we are going to be looking at ratio and proportion. Okay? Our topic for today in mathematics is on ratio and proportion. So are we ready for the lesson? We are with our books and our pencils or pen to get into today's lesson, right? Okay, that is good. So what do we mean by ratio and proportion? Ratio is comparing two or more quantities, okay? And ratio can be written with this sign, which is called the colon, or in form of a fraction, okay? Ratio is a way of expressing comparing quantities, while proportion is an equation stating that two ratios are equal. Okay, we're going to get into that deeper. So ratio can be written with this symbol, this sign, A ratio B, or A over B. Remember, it can also be written in fraction, A over B. So A ratio B is still the same as A over B, okay? Let's say we have 5 ratio 10. 5 ratio 10 is still the same as 5 over 10, okay? So ratio can be written like this or in form of fraction like this. Do you understand? Okay? Good. So next we are going to be looking at equivalent ratio. Equivalent ratio are they are the same. Let's say you have this ratio is still the same as this ratio, okay? They may look different, but they are the same. It's like proportion, okay? Remember we said proportion is an equation stating that two ratios are equal. So it's like equivalent ratio. This is still the same as this, okay? This is still the same as this. This is still the same as this. They may look different, but they mean the same thing, okay? 2 ratio 3 is still the same as 4 ratio 6 is still the same as 16 ratio 24. If this is divided to its lowest term, it will be this. And if this is divided into its lowest term, it will be this. So they look different, but they mean the same thing. And this expression can also be written as 2 over 3, which is 2 ratio 3, 4 over 6, which is 4 over 6, 16 over 24, which is this, okay? So it can also be written as this fraction like this. Do you understand? So how did we get this ratio? This equivalent ratio? This is our original ratio, 2 ratio 3. This is our original ratio, but we also got this ratio and we also got this, and they are still equivalent to this our original ratio. How did we do it? Whatever you do at this side, you do it also at this side. Whatever you do at the numerator, you also do it at the denominator. So we multiply the numerator with 2 and we multiply the denominator with 2. So we arrived at 4 over 6, which is 4 ratio 6, okay? If you are multiplying the numerator with 3, you also multiply the denominator with 3, okay? Whatever you do here, you also do it down here, okay? So we multiply the numerator with 2 and the denominator with 2. We had 4 over 6. So 4 over 6 is still the same as 2 over 3. Here now we multiply the numerator with 4 and also the denominator with 4. So we arrived at 16 over 24. So this expression is also the same as this, okay? Don't be confused. Remember we said proportion is an equation that states that two ratios are equal. So this one is proportional to this one, okay? 2 ratio 3 is proportional to 16 ratio 24, okay? Do you understand what we mean? Now, if we cross multiply this, 2 over 3 which is also 2:3, equals to 4/6. If we cross multiply this, 6 times 2 is going to give you 12, and also 4 times 3 is going to give you 12. So you can see that this ratio is still the same as this, right? So it's proportional to this. This ratio is proportional to this, okay? Do you understand? Now we have here 2/3 is equals to 4/9. This ratio is not equivalent to this ratio, okay? This is not equivalent to this, so this is not proportional to this, okay? How do we know it's not proportional? If we cross multiply, 2 times 9 is going to give us 18, 4 times 3 is going to give us 12. We can see that we got different numbers, right? We got different answers, so it is not proportional, okay? Here when we cross multiplied, we got the same answer, so this is a proportional ratio. That is, this ratio is equals to this ratio, okay? If we cross multiply these two ratios, 4 times 24 is going to give us 96, and also 16 times 6 is going to give us 96. So we can see that these three ratios are proportional. They are the same, okay? Do you understand? They are equal. But this is not equal, okay? When we cross multiply, so this ratio is not equivalent to this ratio. It is not proportional to this ratio, okay? Here we have 5/10 equals to 25/50. Is this a proportional ratio? If we cross multiply, let's see if it will be proportional. 5 times 50 is going to give us 250, and 25 times 10 is going to give us 250. So this is a proportional ratio. This ratio is equal with this ratio, okay? This ratio is equivalent to this ratio. Do you understand what I mean? Good. Here we have 5/10 is equals to 25/100. Is this a proportional ratio? Is it equivalent? Is this ratio equivalent to this ratio? Let's cross multiply. 5 times 100 is going to give us 500, and 25 times 10 is going to give us 250. So this is not a proportional ratio. This is not an equivalent ratio. This ratio is not the same as this ratio, okay? I hope you are not confused. So we understand what we mean by proportion, right? It means this ratio is equal to this ratio, okay? When you see a ratio like this, 5/10 is equal to 25/10, this ratio is not equal to this ratio, okay? They are different. Do you understand? So ratio is a way of comparing quantities, while proportion is an equation stating that two ratios are equal, okay? I hope you're not confused. So let's look at some examples. Here we have, you have a bag with 5 red apples and 3 green apples. Write in form of ratio. You have a bag with 5 red apples and 3 green apples. So to write this in ratio is 5 red apples ratio 3 green apples, okay, which can be written as 5/3. So for every 5 red apples, you have 3 green apples, okay? Do you understand? Let's look at another example. You have a box of pencils with 4 red pencils and 6 blue pencils. So in a box of pencils, you have 4 red pencils and 6 blue pencils. So 4:6, or 4/6. The ratio of the red to the blue is 4:6, or 4/6. Do you understand? So this statement is written like this, okay? Good. Let's look at another example. A recipe that uses 2 cups of flour for every 3 cups of sugar. If you want to make a bigger batch using 4 cups of sugar, find how much flour is needed. So a recipe uses 2 cups of flour, so the cups of flour is 2, okay? for every 3 cups of sugar. So we have 2:3, which can be written as 2/3, okay? Now you want to make a bigger batch of this recipe. So you are using 4 cups of sugar, okay? So what quantity of flour are you going to use? So the cups of flour you are going to use is unknown. So we say that is x. So it's x/4, which can be written as x/4. So this is 2 cups of the flour, which is known, and 3 cups of sugar. Here the flour isn't known, but the sugar is known, which is 4. So to find the x, which is the flour for using 4 cups of sugar, you cross multiply. So when you cross multiply, x times 3 is going to give you 3x, and 2 times 4 is going to give you 8. So you have 3x equals to 8. Now we are looking for x, right? So how do we isolate x? We are going to be dividing both sides by 3. To make x stand on its own, you divide here by 3 and also divide this other side by 3. Whatever you do at this side, you are also doing it at this side. Okay? So divide both sides by 3. 3 cancel 3, you are left here with x, and here we are left with 8/3. So x is equals to 8/3. So if you want to maintain the same ratio, you would need 8/3 cups of flour when using 4 cups of sugar in the recipe, okay? In this recipe, you use 2 cups of flour for every 3 cups of sugar. So when you are using 4 cups of sugar, you will need 8/3 cups of flour, okay, to maintain the same recipe. Do you understand? Okay, good. Let's look at another example. If 10 pence cost $1,080, how much will 3 pence cost? The cost of 10 pence is $1,080, which is 10 ratio 1,080, which can be written as 10 over 1,080 is equals to 3 pence. So 3 over n is replacing the cost of the pen. The cost of 3 pence, we don't know the cost of 3 pence, we have to find the cost of 3 pence. For 10 pence, 10 pence costs $1,080, okay? But 3 pence, how much will 3 pence cost? So it's 3 over n. What do? We cross multiply. We are looking for n, we cross multiply. So 10 times n is going to give you 10n, and 3 times 1,080 is going to give you 3,240, okay? So now we are looking for n, so how do we isolate n? What do? We divide both sides by 10, right? To let n stand on its own. So divide both sides by 10. Here we have 10 n over 10 is equal to 3,240 over 10. So 10 cancel 10, you are left with n, yes, which is n, and 3,240 divided by 10 is going to give you 324. So n is equals to $324, okay? So 3 pence will cost $324. So 10 pence is going to cost $1,080. 3 pence will cost $324, okay? Do you understand? I hope you're not confused. So today's lesson on ratio and proportion, we understood everything we looked at. We understood everything we talked about, right? We are not confused. Okay, that is good. So next we are going to be looking at our assignment. I'm sure we're going to be able to do our assignment. It's easy. It's just one question and it's easy, right? Okay, that is good.